Hi guys, I'm Clara and today I want to talk to you about this amazing unicorn palette from Tarte. Doesn't the cover just remind you guys of that show Rainbow Bright with like the unicorn and the little girl? I don't know if I'm the only one who watched that, but that's what I thought of when I saw this. This is part of the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself collection, and this is the Make Believe in Yourself Eye and Cheek palette. It has been on Tarte's website for about a week, but it did just come out in Sephora like the end of last week, so I ordered it then, and I'm really happy when things come on Sephora because then I can like accumulate points and stuff. So here is the inside of this beautiful palette. It is the same kind of size as their contour palettes and also their previous like eye and cheek palette collections. And I felt so silly when I was looking at this online because I ordered it so fast that I didn't even like have time to read the description, and I totally didn't even see that there's like a highlighter in the middle of this palette. Somehow in the picture it looked like it was just kind of a flat part of the palette, and some of the palettes don't have something in the middle, but this one does come with 10 eyeshadows and all of them are like shimmery or glittery except for this one here called Myth, which is kind of a nice warm like medium brown color which you can use in your crease. But it does come with the 10 eyeshadows and then the one highlighter. So let's just jump into some of my mixed thoughts about this palette. It is what I'm wearing on my eyes today and I'm wearing it on my cheeks too. I will say that overall I do like this palette. To be fair, this palette was only $40 and you do get quite a bit of stuff in it, so just take it with a grain of salt. This isn't going to be the best quality on the market, especially since it is a limited edition palette, and you guys all know how that goes. Those are usually a little bit lesser quality than the permanent range. So overall I do really like this palette, but I'm just going to get it out of the way and say this, that I do not like the highlighter at all. Like, I think they should have included something else in here other than this highlighter because frankly this is one of the worst highlighters that I've ever used. I hate to say that. I'm so sorry, anybody who really likes this highlighter. At least in the palette that I got, it goes on really extremely powdery, and it's really hard to blend out. In order to get any kind of shine on my cheeks, I have to apply it with my finger. It like doesn't go on with a brush. It's so weird. I don't like it. And also it's really dry and powdery. I do not have this problem with the eyeshadows, just FYI. I do overall really like the eyeshadows. It's just this highlighter. I did also pick up the what is it called? Swamp Queen palette, which came out a few months ago, and that highlighter in there is pretty glittery, but I don't have the same issues that I have with this one. It still goes on nicely. There's a little bit of fallout with that one, but at least it goes on. It's pretty smooth. It just has glitter in it. This one is like chalky and dusty, and we don't have to talk about it anymore because we are moving on. So something that I really like about this palette, when I first saw that it's kind of like a unicorn themed collection, I was really excited because who doesn't love unicorns, right? But I was kind of expecting this to be a palette full of colors that I can't really wear on a daily basis because I'm more of a natural loving person. And when I saw the inside, I thought it would be more like Kat Von D's pastel goth kind of colors, but I was really pleasantly surprised to see that there's a good balance of more neutral colors. If you're somebody who only splurges on a palette once in a while, you probably don't want a palette just full of like crazy colors. And then there are a few really cool and interesting colors down on the bottom here that will look good on eyes of different colors. So I'm gonna run through the more natural eyeshadows first, and then we'll get to the more colored ones, and I'll just tell you what I think about them and show you the swatches, and I do have a demo for you guys here at the end, so stay tuned for that. So Crystal is a really interesting shade. It looks just kind of like a plain shimmery beige in the pan, but it actually applies like this purple with kind of a golden overtone to it. A while back I did pick up the Laura Mercier Eye Artist palette because I really wanted the shade African Violets. And when I used the palette, I found that the color just didn't stand out. It wasn't really what I was expecting. And so when I swatched this, I thought it was just going to be like a taupey color, and I was so shocked because it looks really similar to the Laura Mercier African Violets, but I will say the Laura Mercier African Violets is slightly warmer. This one is kind of a taupey purple, but there's definitely purple in it, and it does have kind of a golden shine over the surface, so it's a pretty cool color. I will say when I was playing with blending some of these colors together on my arm though, that the color Crystal here, it didn't really blend too well with some of the other colors. I think because it's such a unique shade, it started to look a little bit muddy when it was mixed with some of these other ones. So I'm gonna say that this palette is something that I feel will work best if you pull in like other matte colors from other palettes. And use these kind of as more like pop shades, and you can get away with using it for a complete look. I just think overall these shimmery shades do apply better like with a finger rather than a brush. With a brush I got some fallout on my cheeks, and also the colors just don't appear as well. You may want to try like a sponge tip applicator if you want to blend these colors together to create a look. But overall, since they are all very shimmery, I will say they're probably best paired with mattes, and then use these as kind of the star colors of your look. Alright, so Pixie is a color that is just right up my alley. It is such a peachy kind of rose gold color. It's beautiful. It's actually really similar to this color that I have from this indie brand called Firene. And that one's called Rapunzel Has Extensions, and I love to wear that shadow all the time, but it is loose. So this one, since it's pressed, looks almost exactly like that. It does look very peach in the pan, but it does have a very strong golden sheen, and so when the light hits it, it looks more gold than peach. Myth is the only matte shade in this whole palette, and is a medium brown with warm tones to it. It's a really nice color for blending in the crease, blending out these shadows. The formula seems very similar to the Tartelette and Bloom palette that I have. It's really buttery when you touch it with your finger, but because it is so soft when you put a brush in it, it does kick up some powder, so it's just something to be aware of. I didn't notice any fallout when I was using it on my face, but you probably should tap your brush off before you go straight in. Magic is one of the darker shades in the palette. It's a really nice brown, again with a sheen to it. It is a warm toned color, and it's almost brassy, I would say, in appearance. The next color here, Wings, is very copper color. It's really pretty, again, very warm toned. I think all of these colors pair really well together, and I did use most of them today. For this look, I did throw in this kind of green color at the end. I really like it, especially going into summer. This green color here is called Marvel. It's really beautiful. It's a little bit lighter than it looks in the pan. It's a really light green, and it has, again, a golden sheen to it. I think you're starting to sense a theme to this side of the palette. Is all very warm toned and has more of a golden sheen over it. But it's really pretty. It's really easy to wear. So if you're kind of freaked out about wearing greens on your eyes because you don't really know how to apply them, this one is really easy to wear. And this next shade, Trance, is a really beautiful kind of like a lavender color. It does have more of a silvery sheen over it, so now we're getting into the cooler side of the palette. And I think this one would pair really well with Crystal. It's kind of similar to it, it's just a little bit darker. Next up we have Fairy, which is a very like kind of deep purple violet color. It does have a little bit of blue shimmer in it if you look very closely. Again, it's kind of a cooler shadow, more on the darker end of the spectrum. And next we have our two blue eyeshadows. Mystic is a really nice kind of silvery blue color, and actually when I was blending them together on my arm, it looked really good with Pixie, which is kind of this rose gold color. Blended together. I did try to use it together when I was applying my eyeshadow today, and I liked it. I just felt like it wasn't quite fitting what I wanted to do today, so I changed it up a little and went more warm tone, but I do think that this is a pretty versatile color. And now the last color here is Dream, and it's this really bright blue color. It's kind of a turquoise color, leaning a little bit more toward blue, and it's sort of in the mid-range of blue, so it's not too dark. It's a really nice summer color. It's very bright and vibrant. They do have a nice range of natural colors while still keeping it interesting, and I think that Tarte did a really great job in choosing the color selection for this palette. I do wish that they had included just a few more mattes, but I guess we all have some mattes laying around in our collection that we can sort of pull into this to finish up the look. I hope you guys will stay tuned to the demo and let me know if you guys have picked up this palette or if you are interested in picking up this palette. I think it's definitely really interesting. For the $40, I do think it's a good deal. Obviously these aren't going to be the most spectacular quality eyeshadows in the whole world because they are only $40, but I do think that this is just such a fun and interesting palette from Tarte. Thank you guys so much for joining me on my channel today. I hope that you have enjoyed seeing this unicorn themed palette. I was so excited to get my hands on it. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys are going to be picking this up too, or if you already have it, what your favorite looks are that you've gotten out of it. And as always, if you have found this review helpful, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more things like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I am picking up the California blush and I'm going to be reviewing that next. Hopefully I can get that up at the end of this week, so stay tuned for that. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and I will talk to you really soon. Bye!